Всем привет, это игровой канал StidIsram, это игрушка Kingdom Come Deliverance, это будет дополнительный квест. Смотрите, здесь Микулаш есть, он находится в городе Тальмберг, это местный охотник, и над ним какая-то звездочка, и значит он какое-то задание хочет нам дать. Сейчас мы с ним поговорим.
I'm at your service, Sir Knight. Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Skalitz lad, aren't you? Sir Radzig's lackey.
Холоп? Я не холоп.
Sir Radzig is my liege, and I serve him faithfully. But that doesn't make me a lackey.
As you wish. What matters to me is that you're no layabout looking for easy work. I have a job here I can't give to just anyone.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place, but no sign of the bastards who put them there.
And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Shouldn't you be dealing with the poachers yourself?
I should, you're quite right. But when I ask the local folk anything, their mouths close up like clams. They're more scared of me than the devil.
Do you think the locals are in on it?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But even if not, they'll never talk to me. They're scared I'll dig some skeleton out of their cupboard. You know, the smaller the village, the bigger the secrets. That's why I need an outsider to ask for me.
I understand. I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks for your help, lad.
Так, у нас тут браконьеры есть, которые что-то нехорошее делают. И я подозреваю, что это мои конкуренты, потому что я же там тоже в свое время сдавал всякую дичь, продавал. И по квесту. Сейчас временно уберем поиск. Надо поспрашивать в корчме на полянке и поспрашивать в деревеньке в Тальмбергске. Что ж, интересный вопрос. И сначала я спрошу у местного корчмаря. Может, он что-нибудь знает.
I'm at your service tonight.
What do you think about all the poaching lately?
What should I be thinking? If they ever catch them, Sir Divish will have them skinned alive. But for that to happen, our master huntsman would have to be made of sterner stuff.
Do you think Nicholas isn't doing enough?
A master huntsman who lets poachers run wild through his woods? He's useless. He couldn't even stop them hanging a stag's head on his own house.
Right. Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going.
Какие-то очень дерзкие браконьеры, оленью голову ловчему на дом повесили.
How are the Talmberg folk getting on? Is it peaceful here?
Things here are not too bad at all.
Так, тут еще есть крестьянки.
I heard you got a poaching problem in the wood.
In the woods and out of them. Not long back the bastards hung a deer's head on the huntsman's house.
That's pretty brazen of them.
Certainly is. Word around the village is that someone wants to shame him till he squirms.
Do you think it was someone local?
I really don't know. All sorts of things get said. Hannikin hair's back if you listen to some, and others are going on about Tom of the Baths. They swear blind he's got his fingers in it.
And what about you?
It could be anyone. There's more than one that has it in for Nicholas. And who knows what the neighbors get up to by night.
What's so suspicious about this Thomas?
Just that he was drunk and blabbering about how he was going to bring back venison from the woods.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
He used to be Master Huntsman here a while back, but then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
Так.
What happened between Hare and Nicholas, anyway?
Those two didn't get on from the start, and then that business with Margaret really set them at each other's throats. But it all came to a head about 15 years back when Sir Henry of Lipa came to visit.
Sir Hanish's father?
Just so. There was a banquet at the castle in his honor, and in the morning they found one of Sir Henry's men-at-arms in the ditch with his neck broken. Well, Nicholas made sure the blame fell on Hannikin Hare.
So how did Nicholas put the blame on Hare?
Nicholas always had a viper's tongue, and events made it easy for him. That evening there'd been a right falling out between Hare and the guardsman. Blows were struck. Well, Sir Divish didn't want any ill will with Sir Henry, so he tried to settle things as quick as he could, and Hare got the short straw.
What was going on with Margaret?
Her father promised her to Hannikin, because they seemed a good match. But Nicholas couldn't stomach that, so he did what he did.
Так, интересно.
And what happened to Hare?
That's just it. No one rightly knows. They put him in the dungeon, but when Sir Henry's men came for him the next morning, he was gone. No one knows what became of him.
I want to ask about something else. Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
He used to be Master Huntsman here a while back, but then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
I want to ask about something else.
Так, что такое мыльщик Томаш?
So why do people think Tom of the Baths is involved?
Ah, that's just nonsense. He was bragging in the tavern that he'd put on a venison feast for the village girls. Deer for the deers.
Did he?
I doubt it. He's all mouth and no trousers. But if you want to know more, ask my husband, the innkeeper. I wasn't here that evening.
Putting a deer's head on the huntsman's house sounds pretty risky. Why would anyone do that?
Maybe they want to show that Huntsman Nicholas is no match for them. And they're not wrong. He isn't the man he should be.
That'll be all. Thanks.
Интересно, она кучу слухов рассказала. Итого 2 подозреваемых пока что. Сейчас у Корчмаря спрошу про мыльщика.
I've heard Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in here.
So he did. He and Jack Piper were bragging about how they'd make a feast for the village lasses, that there'd be venison roast and enough beer to fill a river. And a few days later, they did come and buy a few kegs of beer from me.
Did they have anything else to say?
Not really. I told him to shut up, or someone would hear him and there'd be trouble.
And what did he say to that?
Nothing. He had more booze in him than the castle cellar. He just hiccuped and slid under the table. Piper took him off after that, thank God.
Henry, I'm glad you came.
Do you suppose he meant it?
Hardly. He's nothing but a braggart.
All right, I'd best ask him myself.
Well, feel free to ask, but don't believe half what he says.
And who is this Jake Piper?
Oh, he's Tom's best mate. A decent fellow. They call him the Piper because everywhere he goes, he's whistling on that pipe of his.
Where can I find him?
Well, most likely in the quarry. He lends a hand there to make ends meet.
Так, еще один подозреваемый. А про Яна Зайца что он скажет?
Folk are talking about Hannikin Hare.
Oh, good Lord. People do like to prattle on. Don't you go believing a word they say. It's the back of beyond here, and they'll tell any tale to spice things up a bit.
Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going.
Так, что у нас тут по квесту в итоге? А квест называется «Охота на Зайца». Значит, все-таки подозреваемый и вполне возможно главный злодей — это тот самый Ян Заяц. Так, поспрашиваю в деревне, в корчме поспрашиваю, узнать, что случилось с Томашем на купальне. Это где это купальня? Вот купальня. Близко. Выясни, знает ли Маргарита что-то о Зайце. Еще это Маргариту надо поспрашивать. И Яков Дудочник на каменоломне. Такие вот у нас разветвления. Ну, судя по тому, как называется квест, все-таки виноват тот самый Заяц. Это такое название квеста спойлерит нам, кто убийца. На самом деле не убийца, а кто браконьер. Так, где этот
Good day, Henry.
мыльщик Томаш?
I'm honored that you should come to me.
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
I heard you were yelling in the tavern that you were off to hunt some venison.
Look here. I don't know who you are, but you should watch your mouth.
I will, don't you worry. So what happened then?
What? Nothing. It was just the beer talking. I got pissed and started spouting shit. Didn't mean a word of it.
Maybe not. That remains to be seen. That'll do me. I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you.
Да, какой-то он странный. Что-то он да знает. Возможно, кто-то, его дружбан, наверное, Яков Дудочник, какую-то улику он против него даст. С него квест все еще не пропал. Так, вот он, Яков Дудочник. Где его дудка? У него на шее дудка какая-то висит.
Good health to you.
Нет, это не дудка. Какое-то.
I need to ask you something about the poachers.
Какое-то ожерелье или что это такое?
Why me, for Christ's sake?
They say you were mouthing off in the tavern.
We'd all had a few ales. You know what it's like. The tales get taller.
So you didn't go poaching with Thomas?
My God, no. That would never even cross our minds. Thomas is a bit wild, but I have some sense at least.
Да. В общем, ничего интересного они не говорят, но с них квест не пропадает. Так, тут еще где-то живет какая-то Маргарет или еще кто-то. Судя по всему, она дома у него сидит. Может, он ее так захватил. Вот она, Маргарита, рядом с сундуком.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That old gossip will tell you all there is to know.
Какая-то Алена, сплетница. Но я хотел еще про Яни Зайца спросить.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
Так, и здесь есть возможность убедить ее.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well. You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
Так.
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want him? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen.
Так,
That'll be
это
everything.
тоже подозрительная она. итоге он сказал про... Ух ты, что здесь ведро делает. Смотрите. Тут с ведром играет, смотрите, смотрите. Что вытворяет-то? Ведро у нее. Девушка с ведром. Хотя, если это 15 лет прошло назад, значит, не такая уж она и девушка. Уже такая довольно пожилая. Можно про оленью голову у него спросить, есть ли такой диалог. Так.
I've been hearing some quite wild stories about hair.
People do prattle on. It happened a long time ago, and I've heard some crazy tales myself.
And what's your version of what happened?
Hare was a stuck-up knob. He came here with nothing to show but his bare arse. But he thought he could have anything he pointed at. All because he was of noble stock.
Whatever became of him?
Oh, you must have heard. He killed one of the armed men that served Sir Henry of Lipa, and they sentenced him to hang. Except he scapered right out of the castle dungeon.
How did he manage that?
Nobody knows, but I'll bet he had help from someone up at the castle.
And what was your wife's role in all this?
He had his eye on her, and she didn't want him. That's all. And it had nothing to do with what happened later.
That's all I need. Thanks.
Да. Как он здесь, смотрите, как кожу он чистит. Такие вот делишки. Какая-то есть сплетница Олейна. И есть еще дальше корчма на полянке.
May the Lord watch over you, Henry.
Это сплетница Олейна, она под мостом с ведром стоит.
I heard there are poachers in the woods round here.
If only if it was just poachers. It's that sorcerer Hare. He's the one who's been running amok. I said he'd be back, and I said he'd be vengeful, and I was right both times.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day. No one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of Master Huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
And how did his sorcery reveal itself?
Well, he was able to vanish into thin air in the forest right in front of folk. And I've heard it said he spoke to animals, too. Though I don't know the truth of it.
That doesn't sound very convincing to me.
That's because you've not seen his marksmanship. It was natural, the things he could do with that bow of his. They say he sold his soul for the gift of it.
I see. How did it go with Margaret?
I'm not one to gossip, but she was a flighty lass in her younger years. She could never make up her mind which one she wanted, the Hare or Nicholas. So in the end, fate decided for her.
What do you mean? What happened with Hare?
Oh, that was quite something. And then some on top of it. Sir Henry of Lipa was visiting here at the castle, and Hare snapped his guardsman's neck with his bare hands. Of course, they found him out. But how do you keep a sorcerer under lock and key? You can't. That's your answer. And that Satan spawn slipped the net.
Oh well, it's quite a wild story. Any idea why he murdered the man?
No one knows, and most likely never will. But they say he was fully in the devil's power. There was a full moon, you see.
Was he actually seen killing the guardsman?
I suppose so. Else they'd hardly know who did it, would they?
That's probably true. There is one other thing I want to ask. Who does Hare want revenge on?
Master Huntsman Nicholas, of course. When the hare disappeared, Nicholas took his Margaret and the huntsman's posting.
So Nicholas came out of it well?
That one always knew how to land on his feet.
Tell me something about...
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here. He claimed up...
Так, это уже все было про этого зайца.
Well, I should be...
Not at all.
В общем, такая вот она.
What is it?
Я не все сплетни послушал. Квест про сплетни.
I want to ask...
So ask.
Has anyone actually seen this Hannikin hare? He seems to exist only as a bogeyman to frighten naughty children.
Oh, he exists all right. But he flits around in the forest like a shadow. They won't be catching him anytime soon. But Blacksmith's Betty heard some of their goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Cavorting and raising hell. Sorcery! Hare meets up with his sorcerer's apprentices, and they feast in the clearing in the woods. In the morning, they turn into ravens and scatter. Or so she says. But you'll have to ask Betty for more. Who knows what she saw? Or what she was doing there with them.
Very well. I'll ask.
Так, это новая зацепка, это какая-то бета,
I think I know all I need.
которая что-то видела в лесу. Так, кто такая, во-первых, бета? Что бета видела в лесу? Это Е. Она как раз здесь рядом, это бета. Вот она. Все они с ведрами ходят здесь.
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
I heard you saw something fishy in the forest.
That's right, I did.
Can you describe what you saw?
It was after dark, I remember that. I went up past the castle along by the clearing, and I saw someone had lit a fire, and there were figures singing and dancing, and I could hear the whistling of a pipe. And I could smell roast meat. It was like a feast of some sort. Only I thought maybe it was some witch's Sabbath, so I was afraid to stay too long in case they saw me.
Интересно, интересно, на флейте играл.
Did you recognize anyone there? Someone from the village, maybe?
No. Like I said, it was dark. All I could see was shadowy figures moving around.
Did you hear any familiar voices?
No. But I heard girls' laughter, goblets clinking, a piper playing. It sounded just like any feast.
Where is the clearing?
A short walk north of the castle. There's a track past the woodcutter's camp that takes you there.
Thanks.
Интересно, значит, возможно, все-таки
What do you
наши...
make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day.
Наши алкаши
Hannikin hare's back. And putting those
поймали там
antlers on
что-то.
Nicholas's house? Well, we all know what that means, don't we? It's the sign of a cuckold, you mark my words.
Так, опять сплетни.
You mean to say his wife's cheating on him?
All I'm saying is she might be feeling the urge. It happens in the best of families.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumors.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know. And everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
Так, варианты. Ее можно допросить как по-хитрому.
You were singing a different song not long ago.
So? Why do you want to know so much, anyway?
It's nothing to you, but I'm helping Nicholas unmask that local poaching gang.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. And you also know not to keep anything from me. So, what's the story with that hare?
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can, but I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here. because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to?
And what did they speak about?
I don't know, but if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no, Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
Ух ты, как интересно.
Who's this Hannikin Hare, anyway?
Hannikin Hare? There was a time he was master huntsman here, and Margaret was set to be his wife. But then he got himself accused of murder, and fled before they could hang him. Margaret and his job both ended up going to Nicholas.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return.
Well,
Так, это уже все было. Вот этот вариант. Не лги мне.
Stop trying to wriggle out of it. Do you realise who I am?
Not really.
But you know who Radzig Cobbler is, right?
Of course.
I'm his right-hand man, and I'm helping the huntsman catch the poachers. So, I'm not someone you should be messing around.
All right, I'll tell you what I know.
I'll do what I can.
It's to do with Margaret.
Keep
Так,
going.
это
I know for
тоже слышали.
that he waited in...
And what did they speak?
I don't know.
You're sure she was...
Oh no.
So what's the story between Hare and Margaret?
It was complicated. He wanted her and she wanted him too, I reckon. At least for a while. But then she hitched up with Nicholas and now she says she never had a thought of wedding Hannikin Hare.
Welcome, Henry.
So what went on between Hare and the huntsman?
Those two? There was no love lost between them from the moment Hare arrived. And then Margaret got involved. It was a messy business.
Do you think Hare really killed that man?
Who knows the truth of it now? I did find it all a bit odd. Hare never was much of a hothead. But then again, no one really knew him that well. And Margaret never wanted to speak of it. Wouldn't hear a word about it.
That's all I need. Thanks.
Выходит, сейчас, после разговора с ней, две вполне конкретные версии есть, что это действительно наши ребята деревенские повеселились, и то, что этот заяц вернулся. Но говорят, что браконьеры очень сильно обнаглели, а эти ребята деревенские, они всего лишь один раз дичь поймали. Можно опять эту Маргариту и посмотреть на поляне на севере, что ж там произошло. И еще спросить в корчме на полянке. Я пришел на эту странную полянку, где были подозрительные звуки. Тут, смотрите, костер есть. Есть пиво. Есть еда, значит, кто-то здесь действительно пировал. И еще одна зацепка. Спросить еще раз Маргариту про этого самого Яна Зайца. Теперь мы знаем, что у нас с ним встречалось.
I'd like to ask you about...
I'm sorry.
Так.
The thing is, every time...
But I don't.
You aren't to blame.
Very well.
What did you talk about in the woods with Hannikin Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hannikin Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Интересно, а что это за такое место?
Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hannikin Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
I want you to hang that garland on the lodge.
But I don't want to go anywhere with him.
You don't have to go anywhere. But tell me, where's that secret meeting place of yours?
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn? What are you going to do to her?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well then. I'll hang the garland for you.
That'll be everything.
God bless.
Такие вот дела с ними. Где это место? Встретиться с Зайцем, но пропала опция расспросить в таверне. Но про дудочника и Томаша из купальни. Что-то еще. Что случилось с Томашем из купальни? Опция появилась. Он что, куда-то пропал?
Good day, Henry. Well, I never...
God save you. What can I do for you?
I'm here to find out about the
Well, ask away.
Blacksmith Betty saw people feasting in the woods, and she says there was a nice smell of venison. What do you know about it?
Nothing. I wasn't there.
And I don't suppose you'll tell me who was?
No, because I wasn't there.
That'll do me.
Так, все еще не хочет колоться. Я прибыл был на место встречи с Зайцем, и здесь какой-то подозрительный мужик стоит в лесу, в кустах. Но это не утро. Он ли это или не он?
I'm guessing Nicholas won't be joining us. Who the devil are you?
I thought you wanted to meet up with Margaret.
Fortunately, I'm not that much of a fool anymore. I was hoping I'd tempt Nicholas out of his lair. But let's get to the point. Who are you? And what are you doing here?
My name is Henry, and I work for the Master Huntsman.
So are you going to arrest me?
I am.
All I ask is that you listen to me first.
Так, вариант. Ну, можно его.
Why should I listen to you?
Because if you care about justice, you're after the wrong man.
Anyone can say that.
And that's precisely why the accused should get a proper hearing.
Let me guess. You're going to tell me you're innocent.
I wouldn't presume. I've been poaching on the Divish estate, and I'll take the punishment I deserve. But the crime I was nearly strung up for, that one I didn't commit.
Who are you, anyway?
Let me introduce myself. My name is Hanakin Hare of Zalush.
The nobleman?
I used to be. My house became sadly impoverished. And I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher? I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened to your family?
My father lost his influential friends and the money with them. After his death, I inherited only his debts. There was nothing for it but to sell off all our possessions, see to my sister's welfare, and manage as best I could.
That sounds a rough deal.
Believe it or not, I never cared for the life of a nobleman. I spent my youth running free, hunting in the woods.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, and the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it. They did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
Why did you get into a fight with him?
The fall of the House of Zalush was the work of the Lords of Lipa, and that fellow took great delight in reminding me of it.
I know Sir Hanush of Lipa. Was Sir Henry his father?
Indeed. He was on his way to Ratai to take charge of the fiefdom for young Sir Hans Capon.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then, there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
What did Margaret think of you?
She took me for a fool. She only had eyes for Nicholas, but I didn't see it then. In the end, she could have saved me.
How?
She could have told the truth. After the banquet, I was with her. But when they asked her, she said she hadn't seen me that night.
Do you know who did kill the man?
No. He was found in a ditch with his neck broken. He could have tripped and fallen, all on his own.
And that never occurred to anyone?
It did. But some people swore they'd seen us jostling on the drawbridge. Of course, that was Nicholas's work.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive. But my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true. I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
Так, варианты.
From the Talmberg dungeon? That can't be done, can it?
It's not too hard when the lord of the castle himself helps you escape.
So, Divish set you free? From his own dungeon?
He couldn't offend Henry, so he had to lock me up. But he trusted me. We were friends, after all. He led me out of the castle in the night. I was given a good horse, and in a couple of days I was in Silesia. And that was the end of it. At least until now.
And how did it happen?
It's a long story.
I've got time to listen.
All right. But for you to understand, I have to start from the beginning. I was born as Hannikin Hare of Zalush, the eldest son of Sidney of Zalush. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher. I see. That's quite a
Nicholas gave me...
Так, это уже все было.
What happened?
I was...
And didn't they have a...
That's...
And then what?
Nicholas.
Why would he have done...
He wanted rid... But back...
How did you get...
What leads you...
Your head's still on...
I'm alive. Well...
Этот разговор уже был, просто как почему-то он белым помечен.
Interesting...
I can't complain of boredom.
Так.
Even if I believed you, there's no proof. It all happened a long time ago.
I know. But if I didn't believe in my own innocence, I'd have to be crazy to have done what I did.
Why?
If I truly were guilty, why would I risk coming back to Bohemia? I could have died in peace as a rich man in the pay of the Jagiellonians. Only a fool would come back.
Nicholas took everything you had, regardless of your guilt or innocence. I'd say you have more than enough cause to want revenge.
I'm not like him. Anyway, you're right. I don't have any proof of my innocence. All I can give you is my word.
Ну, я думаю, поверю, если ему даже лорд замка помог сбежать.
This is one of the most insane stories I've heard lately.
That doesn't surprise me.
But something tells me you're speaking the truth, Hannikin Hare.
Thank you. And if you want to help me, come to the old mine gallery in Broad Woods.
I'll be there.
I have a plan, but I need some help.
Так, задание, получается, провалено. Охота на Зайца. И началось какое-то другое. Cherchez la Femme. Я обещал свою помощь Яну Зайцу. Этот дворянин, преступник и браконьер еще не сказал своего последнего слова. Встретиться с ним в штольне. А что там про прошлое задание? Вот оно, охота на Зайца. Да. На самом деле, возможно сказать Ну, его схватить, тогда бы квест завершен, и этого задания бы особого не было. Или можно было, наверное, тех ребят подставить, сказать, что это они все поймали, там, попьянствовали. А сейчас можно заняться с другим заданием со странным непереведенным названием, вот, встретиться в штольне. Итак, я подошел к этой штольне, это логово того самого Яна Зайца, вот здесь пещера. И, наверное, надо туда войти, используя факел. Странно, ничего нету. Пещерный гриб какой-то. И я немножко подождал, здесь появился Ян Заяц.
So, what are you up to?
Working out how to get Nicholas's confession.
And how would you do that exactly?
Simple. I'll have him sign it. I've had the priest in Janowitz write me up a parchment. When Nicholas signs it, he'll admit to everything written down there.
How do you want to force him to do that?
He won't have a choice, or rather he will have, between his wife Margaret and the job of huntsman.
I'm not following this at all.
It's plain enough. We'll kidnap Margaret. That's to say, you'll kidnap Margaret while I distract Nicholas. If he wants to see her again, he won't have any choice.
Kidnapping? That doesn't seem like much of a way to clear your name.
No? Take a look around you, Henry. Sigismund kidnapped Wenceslas, his own brother. And Divish was abducted by Medek of Waldeck.
True, but Sigismund and Medek kidnapped the men they wanted to bargain with. You're thinking of taking a man's wife who's done nothing to deserve it.
And what of it? Those others did it for money or power. I'm doing it to redeem my honor. And since you mentioned Margaret, she's not all that innocent. I could have swung because of her.
But that confession's just a scrap of parchment with writing on it. What will happen to him after that?
That scrap of parchment is for Sir Divish and the provincial court. But we'll be generous to Nicholas and let him leave in peace before we deliver the confession to Taumberg.
So Nicholas will go free, and you'll clear your name?
Hopefully.
So what do I need to do?
I had Nicholas's prized hunting horn liberated. I'm sure Nicholas will recognize its sound from quite far off. I'll lure him out of the lodge at dawn.
And I meant to kidnap his wife while he's gone?
Of course it would be best if she went with you voluntarily, but if not, you'll just have to drag her with you.
Ну, это весьма-весьма интересно.
I think I'm going to enjoy it.
Don't get too excited. Margaret isn't to be harmed. Understand?
Of course.
When you get her, bring her here. Then we can decide what's next.
All right.
Don't forget, tomorrow at dawn.
Так, завтра на рассвете будет большое дело. Похитим Маргарет любой ценой. Ну что ж, пойду проникну в их дом. Там подожду, там его можно на самом деле ночью немножко придушить, а потом притащить сюда. И это утро. Что у нас? Похитить Маргариту. Она почему-то находится на мосту. Интересно, почему? Очень странно. Неужели она даже не вернулась домой? И варианты можно с ней как-нибудь или поговорить, или ее просто притащить. Где она? Вот она тут с ведром. И вариант у нее только обокрасть. Так, если присесть, то можно ее оглушить. Ну-ка. Странно. Оп, поднимем. Мы уж так делали. В монастыре. Дальше, я думаю, наш главный герой занимается такими делами. Но почему она не дома? Там ведь дома у них, как враждебная территория, всех территорий их дома стала помечаться как частная враждебная территория после принятия этого квеста. И сейчас утро, сейчас все люди спят, а я тащу А где она? Куда она упала? Эй. Она пропала. Баги нашего городка. Вот она валяется. Почему их здесь две? А Лена мертва? Тут поворот. То есть, получается, это Маргарита, которая без сознания сейчас валяется в воде. Она убила вот эту вот Алену и стояла тут над ее трупом. Блин, что они здесь творят в этой деревне? Так, как мне здесь выбраться-то? Вот, здесь можно выбраться. Так. Давай, давай, иди. Не хочется идти. Ведь он вылезать будет. Да. Ну что же, значит, будем бросать тело. Потом поднимать. Так вот, мешок таскаем. Ох уж эта Маргарита замочила свою селянку. Кстати, как-то у меня с репутацией в Таунберге. Ну, более-менее неплохо. Я тащу тело, здесь ко мне кто-то подбегает и начинает драться. Кто это такой? Ты кто? Кто это такой вообще? Это браконьер. Он сдается. Что же он хочет?
I'll let you go. I agree.
Странно, здесь браконьер на меня напал. Да. Хотя у него, я вижу, хороший лук здесь. Лук завязан длинный. В общем, жил такой браконьер. Потом на меня напал. И еще появляется у него мясо косули, надо же. Причем оно считается неворованным. Его может кто-нибудь продать. Где тут эта тетка-то? Репутация монастырь. Только минус. А здесь у меня в Таунберге, ну, более-менее нормально. То есть, возможно, даже предыдущий квест про Зайца можно было сдать, наверное, этого браконьера поймав. Так, он находится где-то вот. Как раз рядом с Таунбергом. На северо-востоке. О, рог. Это тот самый рог, который должен отвлечь охотника.
Good work, Henry. Now we have to act fast and sort out Nicholas. Are you all right?
I have to say, that bitch could do with a taste of the whip.
Watch your mouth. She may not be my betrothed anymore, but that doesn't mean I'll stand her and let you insult her.
All right, I was just saying.
Well, don't.
I don't think about it much. What next?
Take this confession. Go to Nicholas and make him sign it before you tell him where Margaret is.
What if he refuses?
You'll have to make him, one way or another.
And what if he attacks me?
Then of course you'll have to defend yourself. If you knock some sense into him in a duel, all well and good, but don't forget we need him alive. So keep a cool head.
All right. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I'll get to it.
Here's the document. Don't forget to tell him he should get the hell out of Talmberg before we take it to the castle.
Where would I find you?
I'll wait for you in the clearing. Be quick. I don't want to keep poor Margaret here any longer than necessary.
I understand.
Вот что-нибудь скажет? Нет. Ничего не скажет. Надо сейчас выбивать признание. Еще какой-то пути лагерь был. Очень похоже на шалаш. Зайца. Так вот, он возвращается как раз домой.
Good day to you. What do you need? Have you seen my wife, Margaret? I'm sure something must have happened to her. I can't find her anywhere.
Yes, I've seen her.
Well, speak, where is she?
Hannikin Hare is holding her captive.
How do you know that?
It makes no odds. Just listen to me.
What, you whoreson? Tell me where she is right now or you'll rue the day.
Bluster all you want, but if you ever want to see Margaret again, you better get a grip on yourself.
Where is she? Tell me!
Yeah, you scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours. Sign this parchment here, and I'll tell you what you want to know.
I, Nicholas Angel, do hereby confess... Conspiracy against Sir Hannikin Hare? Just in proper punishment? What? You must be out of your fucking mind. Never.
Так, и варианты есть.
Have you no honor at all? You almost sent an innocent man to his death on account of a woman, and now justice has finally caught up with you. So face it like a man.
Justice? What's all this about justice? Come to that, who are you, really? Why, you probably weren't even a glint in your father's eye when it all happened, and you want to judge me?
Merciful justice. If you sign this, Sir Hannikin will give you a head start. You and your wife could be long gone before Divish learns what you did.
I take it there's no other option.
None. But the deal could have been far worse. You can trade your good name for a happy life with your wife.
There. Now tell me where my wife is.
There's an old mine gallery, a little to the south of here. Margaret is in there, alive and well.
I certainly hope so.
Так, и теперь осталось только передать все это Яну Зайцу. Интересно, он разозлится из-за того, что я эту Маргариту очень нехорошими словами называл. Хотя это уже не важно. Так. Вот маркер показывает странное место. Да. Как-то он переместился. Я думал, на полянке там около вяза. А вот он здесь только идет-то куда-то. Вот здесь какой-то лагерь.
So, have you got it?
It's done. He signed it.
Voluntarily?
Yes. More or less.
Well, I'm glad it's been done without bloodshed.
And what now? Will you take the confession to Talmberg?
We'll go together. I need you to bear witness. I've been gone for years, and I'm not sure they'll take my word for anything.
Well, I hope they do believe you. Otherwise, we're both for the noose.
Don't worry. Divish won't forget our former friendship so easily. Are you ready to go?
Anakin Hare. I never expected to see you again.
It was the will of God that I returned.
You realize that Sir Henry of Lipa has never repealed his sentence against you. I'm duty-bound to arrest you and turn you over to the provincial court.
Perhaps. But will you read this first? Henry here is my witness that your master huntsman Nicholas signed it himself. This ought to change their minds.
It might. I'm sorry, Anakin. I always trusted you. But your guilt seemed irrefutable. Nicholas was very thorough. Oh, there's no doubting his own confession. Captain.
Yes, sir.
Have the Master Huntsman arrested.
That won't be necessary. I don't think they'll find him.
I understand. So, what's to be done with you now? Poaching? And kidnapping the Master Huntsman's wife. You see my difficulty.
I know. I can't stay here. It's enough to know my name is cleared.
I'll have a letter drawn up to recommend you to the service of Sir Vincent at Vellish Castle.
Thank you, sir.
But if Nicholas has vanished and we're sending you to Vellish, then who's going to be my master hunter here?
There's one obvious candidate. Henry here. Help me bring Nicholas to justice. And he's no disgrace as a hunter.
Really? Well, what of it, young man?
Так, вариант у нас. Ну, какой смысл в должности ловчего? Просто ловить браконьеров и дичь? Нет, как не очень интересно.
I understand. Well then, I shall just have to look elsewhere. Good luck to you, Hannigan.
Thank you, Henry. I could never have managed it without you. God willing, we will meet again one day.
Так, закончилось это задание, которое называлось «Cherchez la Femme», и скажу вам, это было адски, безумно глючное задание, которое постоянно критовало, баговало, зависало. Вы этого, конечно же, не увидите, потому что я все это вырезал, но я реально на него потратил несколько часов на его прохождение. Игра не сохранялась, кат-сцены не загружались, диалоги не прогружались, что-то было, в общем, жесть какая-то была. Это задание ужасно глючное. Сейчас, конечно, попытаюсь сохраниться перед выходом. Получится, не получится. Но если не получится, то вы сами увидите, что это было за задание. Ну, всем пока. Смотрите другие видосики. И не забывайте подписываться на канал и ставить пальцы вверх. Всем пока. Ну, в этот раз успешно сохранилось. Это хорошо.